I threatened to leave her if she hugged him. She said she would hug whoever she wanted to. I warned her, and then I left. Be me. 39 years old, living in Minneapolis. Work as a corporate strategy consultant, making enough to live comfortably. Often wonder if I'm being the husband I should be. Job demands so much time and energy. Some days I come home completely drained. Not super great with money management, but we're doing all right. Have a cozy house in a nice neighborhood. 2 decent cars in the driveway. Wife Linda has a closet full of designer clothes. Our daughter Emily, she's 9, has everything a kid could want, maybe even too much, looking at her mountain of toys. Just a regular guy who loves his family more than anything. Been married to Linda for almost 11 years now, but something feels off lately. There's this weird distance between us. Can't quite figure out what's wrong. It's subtle, but definitely there. Linda's acting strange, distant and cold, not like her usual self. Started nitpicking everything I do. Even the smallest things set her off. Try asking what's bothering her. Always says she's just tired or had a rough day at the clinic where she works. Nothing more than that. Thought giving her space might help. Let her work through whatever's on her mind. But it's been going on for weeks now. Starting to really get to me. Anyone who's married knows how it goes. When things aren't right between you, it affects everything, especially in the bedroom. Always tried to keep our love life exciting. I'm a romantic at heart. Like surprising her with fresh tulips after work. Trying to set the mood. Used to lead to amazing nights together. Now all I get is a quick thanks. Maybe a quick kiss on the cheek. That's it. Feels like she's misunderstanding my attempts. Almost like she thinks I'm apologizing for something. But I haven't done anything wrong. Weeks pass by. Linda shows zero interest in intimacy. Always has an excuse ready. Not in the mood, or I have a headache. When she does agree, it's different. She's passive, distant. Just lies there, letting me do everything. Hurts more than I let on. Start pulling back myself. Come home from work. Spend time with Emily. Try to avoid Linda when possible. Only makes everything worse. Frustration and desperation creeping in. Sit at my desk during lunch breaks. Keep replaying everything in my head. Trying to figure out when it all started going wrong. Can't find any specific moment. One thought keeps coming back, no matter how hard I try to push it away. Could Linda be having an affair? The idea alone makes me sick. Keep telling myself she'd never do that. Not to our marriage. Not to our family. But the more I think about it, more it seems like someone else is in the picture. Me, Linda, and some mystery person. Can't shake the feeling. Curiosity gets the better of me. Start reading articles about signs of cheating. Look for any changes in her behavior. Check if her wardrobe is different. Watch her daily routines. To be fair, nothing seems too obvious. Linda looks the same as always. Keeps her usual schedule. But I only see her in the evenings. Who knows what happens during the day? Some signs feel uncomfortably familiar, especially how she's emotionally checked out. Think about hiring a private investigator. Quickly dismiss the idea. No real evidence to justify the expense. Just my paranoid thoughts. Decide to handle this myself. Start calling home during the day. Try to catch her off guard. Sometimes she answers, sometimes she doesn't. The inconsistency bothers me. Take it a step further. Find old security camera in garage. Set it up discreetly under the eaves. Connect it to hidden recorder behind paint cans. Want to monitor any unusual activity. Looking for strange cars in our driveway. Watch the footage for 2 weeks. Nothing suspicious shows up. No unknown vehicles. No mysterious visitors. Catch Linda leaving the house sometimes. Even though she claims to be home all day, her trips are brief. Too short for anything significant. Unless whoever she's meeting is really quick. These outings don't prove much, except that she's not being honest with me. Still no closer to the truth. Meanwhile, Linda's mood keeps getting worse. Our intimate life basically non-existent now. The lack of connection driving me crazy. Resentment building up day by day. 11th anniversary coming up. Decide it's time to fix things. Need to reignite the spark in our marriage. Plan a night out in the city. Something we haven't done in forever. Think dinner and dancing might help. Remind us of our younger days together. Arrange for Emily to stay at my parents' house. Give us freedom to enjoy the evening. Want to make it special? Book a table at Lorenzo's. Linda's favorite Italian restaurant. Hope it brings back memories of better times. Get to the restaurant. Hostess leads us to our table, ready to relive some of that old magic. Notice Linda seems tense. Can't figure out why. Order a bottle of wine to lighten the mood. Seems to work. She starts to relax. Conversation becomes more natural. More like how it used to be. Finish dinner. Linda wants to go dancing. Always been something we love doing together. I suggest trying new club downtown. She wants our usual spot instead. End up at the Blue Room. Place with soft lighting. Music for an older crowd. Has this cozy, intimate vibe. Perfect for slow dancing. Find a quiet table in the corner. Order some drinks. Eventually make our way to dance floor. Music takes over. Moving together like old times. That chemistry still there. Feels like stepping back in time. Dance for almost an hour. Take a break. Head back to our table. Linda sips her wine. Excuses herself to bathroom. Watch her walk across the floor. Still moves with such grace. Feel proud she's my wife. Then notice something off. See this guy sitting alone? Corner table. Can't stop staring at Linda. Tall, well-dressed type. Looks around 35. Catch what looks like a quick glance between them. My chest gets tight. Watch Linda disappear into bathroom. Guy's eyes follow her. Then he looks at me. Has this smug smile on his face? Weird vibes from this guy. Sitting alone in a dance club. Makes no sense. Tell myself maybe his date's in bathroom too. But something feels wrong about how he watched her. Linda comes back. Asks for another glass of wine. Don't want to leave her alone. Not with that guy lurking. Wave down waitress to hurry things up. Linda getting annoyed at my hesitation. Can see it in her face. Hand her the wine. Still can't shake this uneasy feeling. Look over my shoulder. Same guy still there. Still alone. My suspicion growing stronger. Who's that guy in the corner, I ask. Try to keep my voice casual. Linda looks startled. See panic flash in her eyes. Just for a second. Quickly covers it with a smile. What guy? She says. Voice light, but something's off. The one you looked at going to bathroom. Push a bit harder. Try not to sound accusatory. Linda denies it immediately. Don't know what you're talking about. Tries to brush it off. Before I can press further. Guy himself approaches our table. Walks right past me. Like I don't even exist. Gives Linda confident smile. Asks her to dance. No thanks. I cut in firmly. Don't give her chance to answer. My tone leaves no room for argument. Instead of backing off, Guy smirks at me. I was talking to the lady. His arrogance lights a fire in me. Yeah, well, the lady is my wife. Voice tight with controlled anger. And I decide who she dances with. Linda steps in. Tries to calm things down. Ryan, you're being rude, she says gently. Her words sting like hell. Rude? Do you even know this guy? Turn to face her. He's the one who approached my wife. Don't appreciate his disrespect. Guy tries to cut in. Shut him down fast. I'm talking to my wife, not you. Turn back to Linda. If he had manners to ask if I minded, might have considered it. But now, absolutely not. Linda looks at me. Pure exasperation on her face. Patience clearly gone. Ryan, you're being ridiculous. Her voice sharper than I've ever heard. Yes, we're married, but you don't own me. I'm not your slave. If I want to dance with someone, I will. Her words hit like a punch to the gut. Never heard her speak to me with such disrespect. Fury building inside. Force myself to stay calm. She softens her voice slightly. Honey, I just want to have a little fun. Linda, try to keep voice steady. It's our anniversary. Want us both to enjoy tonight? But watching you dance with another man, that's not my idea of fun, especially after I've told you how I feel. If you go ahead and dance with him, might as well ask him to take you home, because I won't be here when you get back. After 11 years, this is where I draw the line. Her face shows defiance and frustration. Can see something else underneath, something she's not saying. Can't understand how she doesn't see how much this hurts me. Takes deep breath, says with ice-cold calm. It's rude to keep this gentleman waiting. I'm going to dance with him. We can sort this out later. Guy looks smug as hell. Extends his hand. Linda takes it without hesitation. Walk off to dance floor together. Leave me sitting there stunned. Watch them disappear into crowd. Quietly slip out of club. Doubt either noticed I'm gone. Several blocks away when phone rings. Driving aimlessly through city. Linda's voice sharp and upset. Ryan, where the hell are you? On my way home. Keep voice cold. I'm packing a bag. What do you mean packing a bag? Where are you going? Demand in her voice turns to confusion. Don't know yet. Just need space. I've had enough. You're not serious. Her voice rising. It was just one dance. Throwing away 11 years over this? It's not just about the dance, Linda. Try to stay calm. Why stay married to someone who clearly doesn't respect me? Haven't caught you cheating, but starting to believe you are. Maybe even with that guy you danced with. Saw how you looked at him earlier. How he looked at me like I was nothing. Treated me like the husband of a woman he's already involved with. Ryan, I love you. Her voice desperate now. I respect you, I swear. There's nothing going on with that guy. I don't even know his name. Why would you think I'd cheat on you? Because it feels like you already have. Say it bluntly. No point holding back now. We haven't been intimate in weeks. When we are, it's like you're not even there. For months, you've been short-tempered, distant and dismissive. If you're not cheating, you're doing a damn good impression of it. Long pause on the phone. When she speaks again, voice soft, almost broken. I'm sorry, Ryan. I didn't realize how much I've hurt you. I'm sorry for tonight. And for everything else. I swear to you, I'm not having an affair. Yes, the man was attractive. Anyone could see that, but I didn't even think about it like that. Please just come back and pick me up. No. Keep my voice ice cold. I told you if you danced with him, you'd have to find your own way home. I meant it. I'm already pulling into the driveway. By the time you get back, I'll be gone. If you really are having an affair, maybe you should stay with him. Stop pretending with me. Her voice cracks. Please, Ryan, believe me. I'm not having an affair. I'll call a cab, but please stay there until I get home. We need to talk this through. Don't leave me like this. Line goes dead. Sit in driveway staring into darkness, heart pounding in my chest. Grab a bag from house. Throw in some clothes. Don't waste time choosing. Just grab what I see first. Gone within 12 minutes. But can't fully leave yet. Curiosity eating at me. Pull over down the block. Turn off headlights. Wait to see what happens. 15 minutes later, yellow cab pulls up to house. Linda steps out. She's alone. Hurries inside. Disappears from view. That's all I need to see. Turn key in ignition. Drive to nearest motel. Check in for the night. Phone starts buzzing immediately. Turn it off completely. Don't have proof she's cheating. But suspicion won't leave me. Keeps gnawing at my thoughts. Can't stop thinking. With me out of house, she might run to him for comfort. Next morning, make decision. Can't sit on these doubts anymore. Find yellow pages in motel drawer. Look up private investigators. Schedule appointment at office. Hand over everything I've noticed. Pay retainer to get started. Now just have to wait. Back at work, Secretary Pamela tells me, Linda's already called 20 times. Tell her not to forward calls. Explain situation. Make it clear if Linda shows up, she's not to be let in. Need time and space. Have to know the truth. Later that afternoon, phone rings again. It's our neighbor Hannah. Hesitate before answering. Pick up anyway. Ryan, she says gently. Linda told me what happened the other night. Says she's been trying to apologize. But you won't even speak to her. That's right. Keep voice flat. Don't have anything left to say. Hannah sighs deeply. She mentioned you think she's cheating. Do you really believe that? I do. Finally admitted out loud. Her behavior has been off for months. Other night only confirmed what I suspected. Saw how she looked at that man. I'm not crazy. There was something there. He was completely disrespectful to me. Frustration clear in my voice. Despite my warning, Linda chose to back him up. Didn't just ignore my feelings. Outright dismissed them. Honestly can't shake the feeling. Something's going on between them. Ryan, you're jumping to conclusions. Hannah's tone calm but firm. I've been your neighbor for years. If Linda was cheating, I would have noticed. There haven't been any strange cars. No unfamiliar men coming and going. She knows dancing with that guy was wrong. She was upset because you told her not to, but she realizes now you were right. Trust me, Ryan. Linda wouldn't cheat on you. I know her too well. I'm not so sure anymore, Hannah. Shake my head despite being on phone. Her actions that night didn't exactly scream loyalty or love. Please, Ryan. Her voice softens. Talk to her. You're not going to resolve anything by refusing to communicate. No, Hannah's making sense, but not ready to face Linda yet. Need more time. Time for PI to do his job. Time to process everything. Hannah, if you could let Linda know, I'll call her in a couple of weeks. That'd be great. Just need a little more space. Okay, Ryan. She agrees reluctantly. I'll pass on the message, but please promise you'll call her. I will. Assure her. Mean it too, just not yet. Next couple weeks are pure torture. Check in with investigator few times. Always tells me nothing much to report. Finally calls. Asks me to come to office. Sit there waiting for him to speak. Can feel my nerves fraying. Hands me manila envelope. Fingers trembling as I open it. If you'd rather skip the details, he says professionally. Just turn to page 5. Flip straight to marked page. Heart pounding so hard. Feel it in my throat. Near bottom of page, words jump out at me. After thorough investigation, this office has found no evidence to support client's suspicions of infidelity on part of his spouse. Ground seems to shift beneath me. Relief and disbelief mixed together. Look up at investigator. Are you sure? Voice full of doubt. Mr. Wilson, he replies calmly. My team has monitored your wife closely over past few weeks, tracked her movements, reviewed her communications, followed her everywhere she's gone, also examined phone records and credit card statements. There's absolutely no sign of an affair. I'm happy to tell you, your suspicions were unfounded. Weight of his words hits all at once. Want to cry? Let out all tension I've been holding. Managed to keep it together. Investigator smiles kindly. Go home to your wife and daughter. In my line of work, happy endings like this are rare. Thank him. Voice cracks a bit. Leave his office quickly. Instead of going straight home, head back to motel first. Need to collect my thoughts. Process everything I've learned. Need little more time before facing Linda. By Monday morning, finally feel ready. Make the call, Linda answers. Voice cautious. Hello? It's me. Say it softly. Brief pause before she responds, her voice trembling. Ryan, I'm so sorry. Don't know what to do. If you don't come back to us, tried to stay strong for Emily, but I can't stop crying. Realize now how much I took you for granted. You were right. Should have made it clear to that man that I was with my husband and not interested. I disrespected you. Don't know why I acted that way. Ryan, I love you. Promise I'll never make that mistake again. Please give me another chance. Her words catch me off guard. This isn't the Linda from Dance Club. This is my wife. The woman I love? Don't know how to respond at first. Must sense my hesitation. You're not coming back, are you? Her voice breaking with despair. No, Linda. Say it finally. I'm coming back, but only on trial basis. Want the woman I fell in love with? The one I married. Can you promise she's still here? She is, Linda says earnestly. I swear, Ryan, I'll do whatever it takes. We'll see, reply cautiously. After everything, the attitude, lack of intimacy, the disrespect, it's going to take time. Need to stop by motel after work. Get my things. But I'll be home tonight. Ryan, I love you, she says tearfully. I'm so sorry for the way I treated you. Don't want to lose you. When I get home that evening, Emily waiting at door, completely unaware of what's been happening between parents. Linda standing behind her, looking hesitant but hopeful. As soon as I step inside, Linda wraps me in tight hug, kisses me repeatedly. Kiss her back. Feel something stir inside. Reminder of how much I still love her. That was 2 years ago. Looking back, it was turning point our marriage needed. Since then, things have been incredible. Linda is woman I fell in love with, both inside and outside bedroom. A few months ago, she surprised me with birthday party, something we'd never done before. Became new tradition. This year, for our 13th anniversary, she planned entire evening. When I came home from work, greeted me with tickets. Dinner theater showing of Phantom of the Opera, one of my favorite musicals. After dinner and show, we took leisurely drive down to riverfront, beach bathed in soft moonlight, gentle breeze carrying fresh scent of the Mississippi River. Felt like scene from romantic movie as we strolled hand in hand. Along shore, whispered, I love you, words spilling out like they had in early days of our marriage. I love you so much, Linda replied, eyes sparkling with warmth and affection. In that moment, felt like we were back in honeymoon phase of our relationship, reminder of everything that made us fall in love in first place. The other side of the story begins. Harsh Minneapolis winter finally ending. As Linda steps outside, takes deep breath, savoring fresh earthy scent left behind by morning dew and gentle April shower, smiles as memories flood back of being wrapped in Ryan's arms, in their warm bed, feeling of security she cherishes deeply. Walking to car, notices purple crocuses peeking through lawn, reminder how nature always blooms, even after harshest winters. Sight stirs something in her, longing for renewal, fresh start, like spring always promises. Humming along to radio, driving to Maple Grove Cafe, meeting Amanda, old friend she hasn't seen in a while. Amanda's son, same age as Emily. Met years ago at school function, shared experiences as moms, turned into deep friendship. When Linda arrives, Amanda already there, grabbed cozy corner table, by window with stained glass. They exchange smiles through glass, wave enthusiastically. Linda joins line, aroma of fresh coffee, filling bustling cafe. Moments later, they hug warmly, settle into their seats. It's been too long, Linda says beaming. How have you been? Busy as always, Amanda replies laughing. Launches into updates about family, recounting joys and challenges of raising preteen. They reminisce about school functions, share stories about their kids, marvel at how quickly time flies. Then Amanda leans in, voice dropping conspiratorially. Can you keep a secret? Of course, Linda replies, curiosity piqued. What's going on? Amanda hesitates before confessing, excitement dancing in her eyes. Probably shouldn't tell you this, but I've been seeing someone. Linda freezes, coffee cup halfway to lips. You mean you're thinking about affair? Amanda's lips curl into playful smile. Haven't crossed any lines yet, but seriously considering it. It's Kevin. He's just different. Being with him makes me feel alive, but worried he'll lose interest. If I don't take it to next level? Wait a minute, Linda interrupts, concern creeping into voice. Have you thought about what you're risking? Are you really prepared to jeopardize your marriage for this? Amanda shrugs, brushes off question. Oh, I'm not leaving Richard or anything. Just little excitement on side. You know, like they say, variety is spice of life. Don't worry. I'd make sure Richard never found out. He'd be devastated if he knew. Besides, Kevin's married too. We have to be discreet. Linda's stomach churns. Torn between loyalty to friend and own moral compass. Wrestles with what to say after 2 years of keeping own secret buried. Decides to take leap of faith. Confide in Amanda. Amanda, Linda begins hesitantly. Do you remember when Ryan and I hit rough patch a couple years ago? When he left me for a little while? Of course, Amanda replies. Tone serious. But you never really talked about it. Linda takes deep breath. Need you to swear. Won't repeat what I'm about to tell you. If this ever got out, could ruin my marriage. I promise, Amanda says solemnly. Leans closer. You can trust me. Linda hesitates, voice dropping to whisper. 2 years ago, I felt stuck. After 11 years of marriage, everything started feeling routine. Loved Ryan with all my heart, but couldn't shake sense of emptiness. Like something was missing. Didn't know who I was anymore. Amanda nods, eyes reflecting understanding. Get it? Think a lot of women go through that. It's not that you don't love your husband. It's just complicated. Exactly, Linda says, grateful for validation. Ryan's my favorite person in the world, but nothing felt exciting anymore. Not even sex. Wasn't his fault. He tried everything to make me happy. Just couldn't shake this cloud hanging over me. Pauses to sip coffee, gauging Amanda's reaction. Seeing friend's attentive expression, Linda continues. Didn't know how to tell Ryan what I was feeling. Instead, I withdrew, and he noticed, drove wedge between us. Before I knew it, we were barely speaking. One night he caught me, glancing at another man at dance club. It all came to head. Ryan left me that night, packed bag and was gone. By the time I got home, what did you do? Amanda asks. Leaning in, I panicked, Linda admits. Realized how much I'd hurt him, that I was on verge of losing everything. Took time, but we worked through it. Had to face my own issues. Make amends. We came out stronger in end. But it wasn't easy. Reaches across table, takes Amanda's hand. Listen to me. Whatever excitement you think, you'll find with Kevin. It's not worth risking your marriage. Fallout could destroy your family. And yourself. Linda's voice softens. And then I met Jason. Amanda leans in, voice barely above whisper. You had an affair? Linda shakes head solemnly. Not quite. Thankfully came to senses before it ever became physical. Admits with heavy sigh. Started so innocently. Or at least that's what I told myself at time. Pauses, gaze distant, like replaying memory. It was at that little grocery store on Riverside Avenue. Just there to grab few things. But then I saw him. Oh, Amanda. He was absolutely stunning. Ruggedly handsome, with golden brown hair, most mesmerizing green eyes ever seen, tall like Brad Pitt. Build was just perfect, even fully dressed. Could tell he was fit, couldn't stop staring at him. And then he caught me. Linda chuckles bitterly, felt like teenager, blushing like crazy. When he smiled back, it was thrilling, almost forbidden. Started flirting. For first time in long while, felt seen. But wouldn't you know it, Linda continues story. As I reached for cucumbers, in produce aisle, accidentally bumped into him. Those piercing green eyes met mine. He greeted me with most charming smile. Hate to admit it, Amanda, but in that moment, could feel something stir in me. Something hadn't felt in years. It was embarrassing. Prayed he couldn't sense how flustered I was. Amanda's brow furrows. Listens intently. Linda continues. He extended his hand, introduced himself, as if he didn't even notice my wedding ring. And wasn't deterred by it either. That was flattering, in its own twisted way. Imagine a man like him, showing interest in someone like me. We chatted and laughed as we picked out our groceries. By the time we reached checkout, he handed me his number. Suggested we meet for lunch. Following week, Amanda's eyes widen. What did you do? Was going to throw his card away? Linda confesses. As soon as I left store, but I didn't. Instead stuck it in my purse. All way home. Couldn't stop thinking about him. Then Ryan walked through door. While I was putting groceries away, already felt so guilty that I snapped at him when he offered to help. Poor Ryan. He just asked if something was wrong. What could I say to that? I lied. Told him I was tired from shopping. Truth was, couldn't stop thinking about Jason. Was on cloud nine. Amanda lets out small gasp, but Linda presses on. Knew it was wrong to call him. Knew I shouldn't, but way I was feeling. I was vulnerable. Told myself no over and over, but couldn't resist. Found one of last payphones in city near Oakdale Mall. Dialed his number. Arranged to meet for lunch. Next day, Linda pauses, sips her coffee, while Amanda sits, on edge of seat, waiting. When we met at restaurant, my emotions were all over place. Excitement, fear, desire, like nothing ever experienced before. At one point during meal, Jason reached across table, clasped my hand, was overwhelmed by urge to cross line I couldn't uncross. But guilt or maybe fear held me back, sighs deeply. Jason didn't push, but didn't back off either. Started planting little seeds, subtly chipping away at Ryan, painted picture of my husband, as unworthy of me, as someone who didn't truly appreciate me, and I fell for it. Started resenting Ryan, believing Jason's version of things. Before I realized it, he'd manipulated me into doubting my own marriage. Amanda shakes head, expression mix of shock and recognition. That sounds so much like my situation. That's exactly why I'm telling you this, Linda says earnestly. Want you to understand what you might be stepping into. Has your guy started mentioning Richard yet? Making comments about him? Amanda hesitates, then nods. Well, he's asked few questions. Like, does Richard know how lucky he is to have me? Stuff like that. Linda nods knowingly. That's how it starts. Then, before you know it, you're looking at your husband through lens of dissatisfaction. You start thinking he doesn't deserve you. Amanda, think about it. What kind of man engages in an affair with married woman? Can you imagine Richard doing something like that? Richard? Never, Amanda says firmly. He'd never do that. And yet here you are, Linda says gently. Considering man who would, that's what you need to ask yourself. Is this kind of man you really want in your life? Amanda goes quiet. Clearly lost in thought, Linda continues. Jason and I had lunch again next week. By third time, was teetering on edge. He suggested we go back to his apartment. I could tell he was getting frustrated with my excuses. Knew that if we met again, it would happen. I would cross that line. What stopped you? Amanda asks, voice barely audible. Ryan, Linda says simply. Our anniversary was coming up. I'd mentioned to Jason, needed to shop for new dress. He made some snide comment about how Ryan probably wouldn't even notice. In that moment, realized how wrong I was. To be there, listening to man who had no respect for my husband or marriage, leans forward, grips Amanda's hand. That moment saved me, and it could save you too. If you listen to what I'm saying, don't let moment of weakness destroy everything you've built. I mentioned to Jason, Linda continues, voice tinged with regret, that Ryan and I might visit dance club we used to frequent, was reminiscing about fun times Ryan and I had there, thinking it would be nice way to celebrate our anniversary. But Jason saw opportunity, immediately pounced on it, declared he'd meet us there and dance with me. I tried to warn him against it, reminding him it was special night for Ryan and me, and dancing with someone else could upset my husband. What did he say to that? Amanda asks, brows knitting in concern. Linda sighs heavily. He just brushed it off, saying it would teach Ryan lesson. Claim seeing another man show interest in me might make Ryan appreciate me more. It was so manipulative, but at time I didn't see it that way. Amanda's eyes widen. Oh, Linda. He didn't actually show up, did he? Linda nods solemnly. He did. Moment we stepped into club, I spotted him. Didn't acknowledge him. Tried to focus on Ryan. We were enjoying ourselves, laughing and dancing. But then Jason approached. Bold as anything, asked me to dance. Oh, no, Amanda whispers, horrified. It gets worse, Linda says, shaking her head. He completely ignored Ryan, as if he wasn't even there. Worse, he was downright rude to him. Ryan was understandably offended. He gave me ultimatum. If I danced with Jason, he'd leave. What did you do? Amanda asks cautiously. Linda's eyes brim with emotion. Was upset, in heat of moment. Insisted I'd dance with Jason anyway. Ryan warned me he wouldn't be there when we finished. But I thought, who takes those kinds of threats seriously? Pauses, wipes tear from cheek, before continuing. As we danced, I confronted Jason about his behavior toward Ryan. Asked why he had to be so disrespectful. He just smirked, said he wanted to put Ryan in his place. Amanda gasps. What? That's horrible. Linda nods. He kept me close while we danced, but whole time my mind was on Ryan. Kept wondering if he was watching. Getting angrier by second. Was so distracted, didn't even notice. When one song ended and another began. Finally, when music stopped, told Jason we were done. Said I was spending rest of night with my husband. Headed back to our table. Did he leave you alone? Amanda asks, voice trembling with anticipation. No, Linda says bitterly. He followed me. When I asked what he was doing, Said he wanted to apologize to Ryan. Didn't believe him for a second. Thought he was trying to stir up more trouble between Ryan and me. Maybe hoping to exploit tension he created. What would he gain from that? Amanda asked, frowning. Think he wanted to drive wedge between us, Linda explains. Hadn't succeeded in seducing me, so imagine he thought, if Ryan and I had big enough fight, I'd turn to him for comfort. Maybe thought he'd end up consoling me in his bed. Amanda shudders. That's disgusting. I assumed Ryan had gone to bathroom, so urged Jason to go back to his table. He finally left, but not without dragging his feet. When waitress came by, Jason took opportunity to order drinks for us. Asked if we wanted to open another tab. That's when she mentioned Ryan had already closed out Bill. I froze. Amanda's hand shoots to her mouth. He left? Linda nods, voice cracking. Amanda, it felt like my entire married life was flashing before my eyes. Couldn't believe he'd just abandoned me like that. I was devastated. Amanda reaches out, grasping Linda's hand. You don't have to tell me all of this, she says softly, voice thick with emotion. Maybe we should stop here. No, Linda says firmly. Need to tell you everything. You need to understand whole picture. It's important. Takes a moment to compose herself. Before continuing, I immediately grabbed my phone, called Ryan, begging him to come back, pick me up. That's when he dropped bombshell. Thought I was having an affair with Jason. Said he was going home to pack a bag and leave. Wasn't sure if he'd come back. Amanda's eyes fill with sympathy as Linda reaches for napkin to dab her tears. I was blindsided, Amanda. It was like everything came into focus. In that moment, it wasn't Ryan who had been taking me for granted. It was me. Ryan had done everything he could to support me. And I'd been so caught up in my own feelings that I didn't see it. What about Jason? Amanda asks, her tone cautious. What was he doing during all this? Oh, he wasn't giving up, Linda says, voice bitter. Said Ryan didn't deserve me, urged me to go home with him instead. I shut him down immediately. But he laughed it off, kept pushing. When cab I'd called finally pulled up, he tried to make a move. That was last straw. I need him in groin. Told him if he ever contacted me again, I'd file sexual harassment lawsuit. Amanda lets out small laugh. Despite tension, good for you. Linda wipes away more tears. By the time I got home, Ryan was gone. I tried calling him, but his phone was off. Amanda, I was terrified. Could see my marriage crumbling. Before my eyes, everything we had built together. Felt like it was slipping away. Next day, I tried to reach Ryan at work, desperate to speak with him, but he refused to take my calls. His secretary told me he'd even asked receptionists not to let me into office if I showed up. That rejection stung deeply. Feeling utterly lost, I turned to Hannah, our neighbor. Ryan had always trusted her, hoped she might convince him to talk to me. Hannah, being kind soul she is, agreed to help. To my surprise, Ryan did respond to her, but only to say he needed time. Promised to contact me. In a couple of weeks, Hannah relayed his message. With sympathetic look, I knew then that pressuring him would only push him further away, so decided to respect his wishes. Give him space he'd asked for. Those 2 weeks were agonizing, Linda continues. Tried to stay strong, especially when Emily was around. But every time I was alone, the tears would flow. Told her that Ryan was away on trip, but inside I was consumed with fear that I had ruined everything. Ryan's anger had been so evident. Wasn't sure he'd ever come back, especially if he believed I'd been unfaithful. Linda pauses, voice faltering, as she fights back tears. I'm sorry, she says, looking at Amanda with watery eyes. Even after all this time, it's still hard to talk about. Amanda reaches out, places comforting hand on friend's arm. Take your time, she says gently. Linda takes deep breath, continues. Eventually, Ryan called. When he told me he was coming home, could hardly believe it. Relief doesn't even begin to describe how I felt. Made me realize how much I valued him and life we built together. Amanda, that experience taught me an important lesson. Love must always win out over desire. I love Ryan, and he loves me. There's no man on earth worth jeopardizing that for. Amanda sits back thoughtfully. Wow, she says softly. You're absolutely right. Can't even imagine what I'd do if Richard left me. Linda hesitates before answering Amanda's next question. Did you ever tell Ryan the truth? Are you kidding? Linda says, shaking head vigorously. After nearly losing him, couldn't risk something like that happening again. Live with fear that one day he might find out. But since he came home, I've done everything I can To be best wife I can be, never take him or our marriage for granted anymore. Every day I thank my lucky stars. For what I have, show Ryan how much he means to me. With every ounce of love I can give, all I can do is hope it's enough. Amanda smiles warmly. Thank you, Linda. You've saved me from making huge mistake. Really needed to hear your story. Two women continue chatting for a while longer, sharing laughter and memories. Before parting ways, promise to meet again soon. Linda feels lighter, knowing she'd helped her friend avoid decisions she might have regretted for the rest of her life. Later that afternoon, Emily comes home from school. Greeted by Mom with snack and kiss, Linda can't help but marvel at how fast her little girl growing up. Emily would be 10 in just 2 months. Where does time go? Linda thinks to herself. When Ryan comes home from work, Linda welcomes him with her warmest smile and tight embrace. Talking to Amanda earlier had been a powerful reminder of life she had almost lost, of how precious it was now. That night, after putting Emily to bed, Ryan and Linda decide to build snowman together. In backyard, cold air crisp and invigorating. Their laughter rings out into night. Later, as they lay in bed, Ryan falls asleep quickly, his breathing soft and steady. Linda shifts onto her side, props herself up on one elbow to watch him, traces lines on his face, each one mark of time and memories they'd shared. Heart swells with love and gratitude. As she gently leans down to kiss him, Ryan stirs, sleepy smile spreading across lips. As he pulls her into his arms, I thought you were asleep, Linda whispers. I was lying here thinking, he murmurs, about what to get Emily for her birthday. Linda smiles, running fingers through his hair. And what does our little girl need? A baby brother or sister? Ryan replies with grin. Linda raises eyebrow. Oh, really? I'm serious, Ryan says, his tone warm but insistent. It's something I've been thinking about for a while. Well, Linda teases. Her birthday is only 2 months away. We better get started. You read my mind, Ryan whispers, pulling her closer. 2 months later, Emily celebrates her 10th birthday. With grand backyard party, Linda and Ryan go all out, inviting all her friends, setting up games, treats, plenty of cake and ice cream. As party winds down, Ryan and Linda surprise daughter with one final gift, card revealing she'd soon have baby brother. Emily squeals with delight. Backyard fills with laughter and cheers. Linda looks at Ryan, her heart brimming with love. Hadn't been easy road, but they'd made it through together. Now their family growing stronger. With each passing day, subscribe and stay ahead of those who might cheat. And trust me, next story makes this one look like fairy tale.